Whoops, AJ. What's up?
What's going down, y'all?
I'm Jared.
I'm Josh. It's good to be here. Thank you, brother.
I gotta go.
That's the show for the night, y'all. Have a good one.
That's about all I have to discuss.
Yeah, for real. Hey, how you doing? Bye.
There you go.
It's like Eddie Murphy's moonwalk joke, man.
See you later.
Moonwalk's the dumbest joke ever. Hey, baby, want to dance? See you later. See you later.
Man, this didn't do a whole lot this week other than watch some good wrestling shows. Now it's about the extent of anything I got to discuss.
It was an amazing week. Sports-wise, it was a very, very good. I told the man I went and saw Zombieland 2 last Sunday, and real quick review.
Yeah.
The easiest and most simple review of all time. It's what pretty much anybody listening to this is probably expecting to hear, and it's the truth. If you like the first one, watch the second one. You'll be just fine.
Do it. I was a holdout on the first one.
Me too.
When it came out, I was kind of like, whatever.
Me too.
And I got around just checking it out, and I was like, man, that was good.
I literally had the same experience.
Yeah. And when they heat and hawed and went back and forth with the sequel's going to happen, it wasn't going to happen, it was going to be a TV show, and I was like, great, that's what the original was supposed to be in the first place, and that didn't happen. I was resigned to the fact that it's not going to happen. And it felt like this movie came out in like a week.
Yeah, seriously.
Where did this even come from?
Hey, man, you guys feeling dejected? Have you given up on Zombieland 2? It's not going to happen. But here it is. It's like, holy crap, okay then.
And it was part of the... I pretty much did nothing but listen to podcasts all weekend. That's because it was raining. Stay in and listen to those. Woody Harrelson sat down and talked with Mark Maron.
Yeah.
I was way behind on the WTF feed.
The
WTF product. We're discussing how we hate that. If you're a card reviewer on this YouTube, please stop using that term. What's wrong with the word set?
It makes both of us.
This year's set, or the set of this whatever title, division.
Seriously.
Whatever.
Yeah, man. We were just discussing how much we hate that. That's why I'm throwing it out. Crack me up like that, because that's awesome.
But it's Mark Maron, so it's going to be a good interview. That's how I listen to his show. It's kind of skip. Hear the guitar strings. Oh, the interview's starting.
Boy, that's me with everything I do anymore, man. I'm sorry to say that I haven't heard a Stephen P. New ad in months because holy crap, Corny, I love you, and I get it. You got to pay the bills, but man,
it's a solid 20 minutes.
It is. I usually get to 23, 24 minutes on Cornette and Brian Last before it's time to go. And it's like, y'all, man, it's jerky, but you know what? It's okay, because as long as you're getting paid to say it, I ain't got to hear it. It's okay.
That was a really good interview to sit down. It's not that even they don't even get into him promoting the movie that much, just other than the fact that it's like, the people that like that movie they're a supportive fan base, and they're on to before he kicks off his little thing before the interview that I guess he thought people were going to give him crap about, but nobody cares. So he's like, yeah, I didn't know how to bring up the stuff with his dad. His dad in jail. He murdered a guy and all this, that, and other thing. It's like, and you listen to the interview, like, you brought it up just fine. He kind of asked him, like, how does your dad's situation kind of affect some of the choices that you might make and places you might have to go when you're in a movie called, I don't know, Natural Born Killers and such like that. And he was like, and I thought he handled it like a champ. He didn't like get all pissy about it. He's like, man, that's just a fact of my life. It would have been nice to talk to my dad, not through glass, but he said he was out for like a year in like the 90s and went right back. So he's like, that's just cards always dealt, and but so I'm sure he's been trying. People tried to get Woody with that gotcha question. I've been through this hundreds, maybe even thousands of times, so you ain't gonna get me rattled with that one. But for somebody to go into an interview and give you that, well, let me give you this qualifier first. I'm like, whatever. It's not that as big a deal as you think it's gonna be. That's definitely worth a listen. To go check that one out. And I thought how cool was Woody? You know,
Yeah,
that's with every interview he's ever done. He's like he's a super cool, chill dude, and for that alone makes me want to go see the second Zombieland. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I'll definitely check it out.
It's totally. If you dig the first one, and if you want to see this, if you think you want to see the second one, I think it'll be what you want to see. It's good stuff, man. It was cool, and part of it's exactly like you said. Woody's one of those cats that it is unbelievable how many things he's in that I genuinely not just really like the movies, but I love him in them. Mm-hmm. And now I'll ever put him, whenever I'm thinking about like my favorite actors, I'd never mention him, and it sucks because he was, you mentioned, for Pete's sake, man, don't say the name. I'll think of it in a second. Mickey Knox. Sorry, I totally forgot. Because I love Natural Born Killers is an interesting movie. We were just, my buds and I that went to see it, we were talking about it afterwards because they both like it too. And I was saying that Natural Born Killers was the movie when I was a kid that taught me the magic and the wonder that can come from the two simple words, director's cut. Because boy howdy, Oliver Stone's cut of that movie makes a big, big difference from what got released. And it's okay, it's just that what got added in just fleshes it out just enough to where it's a lot more enjoyable and really, really good. That's also a fun one. Excuse me, there was this company back during Tarantino mania in the late 90s, and I guess it never really went away because Quentin's still Quentin, man. He's still a big deal. But in the late 90s, like 5 to 6 years after Pulp Fiction, which would have been 2000 roughly, some company went and took all his scripts and published them as books. It's really cool. It's very, very cool. You can go and read all of them, and it's quite neat. But Natural Born Killers was included because that's his script. And it's really fun to read the original idea for that story. And I had a phase where I saw the Natural Born Killers, the movie. I had the poster and all that good stuff because I liked it. I thought it was real good, and the soundtrack's fantastic. I also started Trent Reznor's path onto becoming film score guy that he is now, which is fantastic for all of us because holy crap, all that music that him and Atticus Ross, I think is his name. Fantastic. That's great stuff. Anyway, so I watched Natural Born Killers, then I read the script, and I actually liked the script so much better than what the movie was. Then, about 2 years after that, I went and rewatched the movie, and I'm like, well, now I think I like that one better. So now I got to read the script again and just keep going back and forth because they're way, way, way different. Like Tarantino's version was a lot less about Mickey and Mallory and a lot more about, I forgot his name. It's Robert Downey's character.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you his name.
I should know because he says it Wayne, I think. He says it like 97 times at the end when they're walking out of the prison. This is so-and-so la-di-da or whatever. But it's good. It's very cool. And if you like to do it the way I like to do it, which is watch the movie first, then read the source material, that's a real good way to do it because whenever you're reading the script, you picture Robert Downey, and it's neat. Yeah. But anyhow, I didn't mean to get off on that. But I'm very much with you on Woody. I love that role. He's freaking he's in Semi-Pro, which is like that's our movie.
Love that movie.
We are monster Semi-Pro fans.
Yeah.
That's another one where the director's cut is better because the movie's okay, but the let's get sweaty cut is.
Talking about Natural Born Killers real quick for a second. It was one of those really juxtaposition because it was a really smart pick at the time because he had done like Indecent Proposal, I think had come out, but that was like way different than the Woody Harrelson you knew on Cheers because that was the only Woody that I knew, him playing Woody on Cheers. And it was like way like how's he gonna pull this off? And then you kind of got to see like, oh man, this guy can really go.
Yeah.
So that was another good thing about that I'm watching Natural Born Killers, and you know, talk about a guy that makes good choices. He does some interesting stuff.
I totally agree, and it's one of the things.
But Semi-Pro was like, the jam. That's my jam. That's my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, mine too.
By pretty good margin, and him being in it it doesn't hurt anything. You know, he's awesome in it.
Yeah, Woody's awesome. It's like you said, the other one that I would throw in from like my pile of movies of his I love, man. He's Ray Pickerney in Ed TV, and Ed TV is the redheaded stepchild to Truman Show, and that Truman Show was the serious one, and Jim Carrey can actually act and take it seriously because it's serious and it's very, very good, and Jim Carrey's very good in it. Ed TV's great too, man. It's real good. It's the Armageddon Deep Impact, but except both of them are actually good. Yeah. And McConaughey and Woody Harrelson as brothers is brilliant. It's so easy to believe, and it's very, very cool. It's great stuff, man. But backtracking again, you got me thinking something else, and I appreciate it, man. One of the most positive things about the movie version, Natural Born Killers, is exactly what you just said, man. It's like who they cast to play them, because it really was nice to see a completely different side of Woody Harrelson. Juliette Lewis, since she was a kid, in like just whatever stuff they threw, you always knew she could go. It's amazing how good she is. That's another one that pops up in like movies all the time, and I'm like, God, she's good. But I don't ever. That's Mallory Knox is a good example. Strange Days is a very interesting movie. That was good. Soundtrack's fantastic. She does her PJ Harvey impersonation. It's freaking awesome. She was in Whip It. It's fantastic to see her in that because she's awesome. From Dusk Till Dawn, she's awesome in that. There's a massive one I'm forgetting, but yeah, totally like you're saying, man. It's cool. It's neat to. I want to say Wayne Gale. I'm sorry I'm so stuck on the name of that character, but the script is a lot more about him. It's Robert Downey, of course. He's fantastic, so that's cool. But man, when you get those two, I'm really happy that they made the movie about them because I like hanging out with them.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's it's an Oliver Stone movie, so it's gonna be loaded down with all kind of people.
Yeah, people don't typically say no to Oliver. No. I'm weird about Oliver Stone, man, because like the stuff of his I love. And then the ones that don't do it for me, don't do it for me. But he's made some really good movies.
He swings. He hits big or he misses big.
It's
I appreciate the swings.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
It's like let's see. I think the one that was the most surprising to definitely myself, and I think a lot of other people, Any Given Sunday is great. It's great, but whenever you look at it, you'll see real early why there aren't NFL logos in that movie. Because boy, it's not.
The love letter.
It's not cute. It's not cute, man. And he talks about stuff that people don't want talked about.
Years ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, I agree. It was great. It was really, really great, man. I love that movie. Natural Born Killers is my favorite. Born on the 4th of July is unbelievably underrated. That movie is. I know that we all collectively, as a species, were backing DiCaprio to finally get his Oscar, and it's nice that he finally got him one. Tom Cruise, man. Tom Cruise is not a guy that should not. Born on the 4th of July should have been his lead actor statue. But his statue, period, the best acting I think he's ever done is Rain Man.
Oh, definitely.
It's how he makes it work. It's like we talk about all the time with gosh almighty, what's her dadgum name? Hilary Swank, who got an Oscar for Boys Don't Cry and deserved one. She earned it. But Chloe Sevigny's role in that movie is shockingly underrated. She's so good, and it's so quiet and so different, but it's what opens the door and lets you in. It's the exact same thing with Rain Man. As great as Dustin Hoffman is, man, Tom's playing us. Tom is playing us as we hope we would be if we're in that situation. God, that's a good movie, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Man, we're talking about all kinds of good stuff. We started this thing with nothing to talk about. Here we go. This is the best.
But that was one of the big glaring omissions from the Martin Scorsese list was Cape Fear and Casino last week. That I was like, man, I didn't name those. I guess I should have done that. But that's two big ones from his list that you got to put that on there.
Cape Fear, that is a fantastic addition to the Juliette Lewis, and especially for go watch the stuff from when she's a kid in that movie, and she was great, man. Yeah, Cape Fear, man. Casino's never really done it for me. It's not Casino's fault. It's
on the level with to me, Goodfellas and that. Like it's once you've seen it. I just don't see I can't sit down and just watch that one in the old time.
I understand. Yeah, I totally understand. Goodfellas has almost veered into Citizen Kane territory, where when people sit down and watch it just for what it is from start to finish, it's not there. But it's because that everything that came after it took this and took this and took this and took this and took this. But if you're not taking a class, if you don't want to, it's different. I mean, it's cool and it's neat that people can appreciate it, but I also totally understand, like, what's the big deal? I get that too, man. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it for the
I agree.
Innovation, but when it comes to like the characters and the story, like I just can't watch this as many times as people claim to have watched it.
That was the thing I thought always made Goodfellas stand out from stuff like Scarface. People like to watch Scarface because it's cool. I don't know anybody that books Goodfellas every weekend, man, because it's like it ain't The Godfather. It's a lot. It's just not as romantic or cool. It's just not, and man, it's good. But I'm with you. It's like, okay, once a decade, that sounds about right. Yeah. That's the stuff I like. I love the big, like, I like that kind of stuff, and then I'm set. Like, I don't need to watch that again.
Yeah. And another big podcast interview that is just, I mean, this guy's list of people that he's landed is kind of like, how do you do this? But Joe Rogan sat down and talked to Eric Snowden this week, and it was one of the oddest interviews that I've ever heard from that show, because I don't remember Joe even asking a question hardly. I mean, he does, but good Lord, Eric is long-winded. It's like, hey, he gets to the end of telling his story, and he's just like, I think it's a solid 2 hours. They sit down and talk, and it's just like, man, this dude is long-winded.
Got lots to talk about.
and it's definitely worth. It's another one it's worth the listen, but it's just kind of like it. It's just the names that guy's been able to get on his show is pretty impressive. Isn't the word? It's just like, how do you
surreal?
Do this? Yeah,
yeah, man.
And that was one of them that I was just like, man, how in the world did he get this? I was like, you sit down and have the Eric Snowden and Julian Assange, trifecta interview or something.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to do it to you, Edward, but we've got a federal authority sitting outside the door. It's how I was able to get you.
Sorry.
They helped me. Sorry. Have fun in jail. Tell Julian said hey.
Yeah. And I'm, and there's a few times in the interview they kind of hear like little. It's like, oh, I saw something weird on the screen, and he's a real quick. Oh man, they're just listening to us. It's cool.
Don't worry about it. It's fine, man.
And he's like, it's amazing how quality his stuff is, because I'm sure the whole time they're Skyping this. So, but you can't tell by the audio quality.
Yeah.
Like, usually you can tell, like, man, this guy isn't there, but you couldn't pick it up.
Very
this
cool,
time
man.
around. So it's like, okay, cool. And every once in a while, I'll hear one of his interviews, and it'll make me want to go seek it out on YouTube. That's one I haven't bothered to do that with, is because it's very rarely do I do that. But I'm sure it'll make its way up if it hadn't already. To just kind of get a mental picture of, okay, what was going on here? It's like talking to a screen, or what's happening. But,
yeah, man.
It's all good with that.
He hired an actor to play. Yeah. He got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who played him in the movie, and it's all good, man. I don't think I ever saw that movie. I saw the documentary. Citizen 4, I think, is the name of the documentary, and it's exactly what you expect. I mean, Citizen 4, basically, I mean, it got tamped down for exactly the reason you think it got tamped down. Nobody talks about it for the reason you think nobody talks about it. But the soundtrack's amazing, because they basically just yanked 2 tracks off the 9 Inch Nails Ghost album. And man, it gets to that last one, and I don't know any of the names of the tracks on the Ghost albums. They're too hard to keep up with. But man, when it gets to the closing credits of that movie, man, it is terrifying, because that sound is just Trent Reznor, and he's amazing. But it's like, after you watch that movie, it's like, it messed with me, man.
Heck yeah. That's then there was AEW and NXT this week.
Wednesday Night War, baby.
Oh yeah, it's jamming.
Yeah, man.
And it was another one of those weeks where I got home and I turned them on, and I was kind of like, well, I started with NXT just because that's my jam, and then this was, it was kind of on, and I think I was talking with somebody on the phone while I was watching it, so it didn't get all my attention, but I could still get the gist of, like, man, this is freaking awesome. This is like banging show, and I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I did the same thing this week, where I've been doing AEW live, and I would do NXT the next day, and I don't remember exactly what it was that help me make that decision. But I was just excited about NXT, so I was like, this is cool. So I watched it, and I sent the man a couple of like texts during it. And I didn't watch it live either. I had it on delay. It was just the day of, because I'm terrible about, I will like pause stuff and like get talking and then get back in there. So live doesn't necessarily mean live. So I guess what I should say is I watched that one Wednesday and AEW Thursday. Yeah. But it just, and I've only watched it once, so maybe it's a prisoner of the moment thing. But I was so impressed. I enjoyed everything on that show. I was telling the man earlier, the best way I can describe it is this: like the thing, the hook, the swerve at the end. Man, I'm sitting there back over, like, okay, there was this match and this happened and la-di-da, and I was listening to Cornette's review of it. And when he got to that turn, where it's like, yeah, and then they hit the music and so-and-so comes out and this happens, I had literally forgotten about that, which is insane because it's such a huge moment, and a cool moment, too. It's just to say, the rest of the show, the in-ring stuff, the rest of the show, man, it just did it for me. Because we've talked about it before. NXT's an unbelievable show anyway, but even for them, it was so impressive. I thought that, for Pete's sake, I thought that Shayna's duo, I really liked that match. I enjoyed that match. It was very cool. Looking very forward to the tag match, the tag title match this week. That's going to be awesome. Rhea Ripley, who we are both obsessed with, but Rhea Ripley, who we're both obsessed with, and Bianca Belair, who neither one of us really care for, was absolutely fantastic.
Pleasant surprise.
I loved it, man. My thing with Bianca, her work is totally fine, because I thought her match with Shayna was real good too. And that was my thing. It's like, well, is that her or is that Shayna? Well, now I've seen her work with two people. And maybe she's just gotten lucky and worked with two real good people. But whenever they don't, there's a Sasha Banks button that frustrates me where you can just tell that's what her coaches are like, okay, push the Sasha button. And when they don't do that, when she just does Bianca Belair, I like that way better. But that match was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. I can't remember who else specifically. I know Matt Riddle was on, and I can't believe I don't remember the name of the dude that he wrestled, but I love that guy. And it's exactly what Cornette says about him. He's like, well, he looks like someone. He looks like an old school weird territory wrestler, and that's exactly why I like him too.
Yeah, he had like the Mexican trunks on or something. Or am I getting my weeks mixed
That
up?
was for Pete's sake, the kid that looks like Clem Fandango.
Yeah.
It was different. This was like the cowboy looking kid, kind of greasy, and the one that Tyler Bate beat up at the end.
Okay.
Which to be fair, I bounce back to corny because they were freaking out. Like, that doesn't make any sense. What are they doing that for? That's stupid. And I'm like, I think if it's a genuine question, here's the genuine answer. Now when Tyler Bate performs on NXT TV and this kid comes down and beats the crap out of him, you got an angle. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. That's what I assume they're doing, because it's like, man, I got beat up. And the kid wants to shake my hand, and I'm like, F that guy. And then you get all huffy and knock me down, too. Well, screw you, man. I'm not taking this junk from both of you. It seems like logic.
The feeling I got from that guy, or both of them, really, was almost the feeling I got from when I first saw Andrade. I was kind of like, what the heck is this? And then when he gets to the main roster, it's like, oh, he was a lot better than I realized. So I think that's I think they're getting the fast track, to move them on up. Just kind of moving through this division pretty quick.
Andrade was, I loved him. I thought him and Zelina as a duo was something I was really into. And I hate it because whenever I'm thinking back on like past NXT champs, man, he's a guy that I don't give the proper due. And that's unfortunate because that kid was great. And especially them as a pairing, they were unbelievable. So all that stuff is cool. I know I'm forgetting somebody, and that's a real shame because the entire show I enjoyed the crap out of. But, man, you get to that main event.
Yeah, crazy.
And Roddy Strong, I don't want to say it that way because that's going to be me taking a swipe at somebody else. There's no need for that because I need to put him over just as himself. Boy, you talk about the cat that I most routinely, when making my list of guys whose work consistently impresses me. And work, I don't care about promos. I don't care about promos. I don't watch it to hear people talk. It's not my thing. But holy crap, that kid is so clever and so smart. I loved the finish of that match. I absolutely loved the spot where he goes jumping out the ring, the two bigs catch him and kill him on the ramp, and then they have that moment where it's like, it's back to you and me. Let's go settle this. It was so good. Man, I loved it. I thought that was so cool. I absolutely loved everything about that. And then you get the victory celebration. They're all like clapping and stomping and all that good stuff. And then the good guys come down, and it's all good, and Finn comes out and joins them, and that's great. And then Finn hits, in my opinion, I mean, Finn's Pele kick or bite kick, whatever you want to call it, is always nice. AJ Styles, for the most part, I think AJ Styles performs every move he performs better than anybody else that performs them. But that's the best-looking Pele kick I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That looked unbelievably fantastic, and it's probably because it's like, just potato the crap out of me, but holy crap, it looked good. So then we get all the rumors about, well, is Finn Balor undisputed? And I did not get that impression at all. I thought him jumping out the ring, going off and doing his own thing. I hope that's not where we're going, because Finn Balor versus Adam Cole is where I want to get, but the rumor of Finn and Doc and Carl and potentially AJ coming down and being 4-on-4 for like a one-off or a pay-per-view or something. Love the idea of that too.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh yes, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. But I just I cannot overstate how much I liked it. And I've enjoyed NXT since they put it on TV. I've enjoyed NXT every time I've watched it. It's just that the weekly television is not what I was doing when it was on the network. Pay-per-views have always blown us away. And an NXT pay-per-view is still the thing I get the most excited about of stuff that I actually watch. I would love to watch New Japan. I watch it every time I can on Access, and the gap is so tight now that it doesn't bother me. So New Japan it's tricky, man. I mean, I love New Japan. It would be hard. New Japan NXT would be a very, very close race. It'd be hard for me to just settle down and say which one I like better. That's hard.
Is New Japan still going to be on Access now that supposedly Impact's going to be on?
Impact already is on Access, and so I don't think it's going to affect it. I'd be shocked if it affected. Let me say it this way: I cannot imagine Access
I don't think that's stupid.
choosing not to run New Japan. I don't think they'll do that. And New Japan is contract signed. It's all good. They don't mind.
Okay.
But Impact, apparently Impact's parent company bought Access, so that could be a thing where they decide not to do it. But it's okay, man, because New Japan World is...
We've already got our own thing going.
Oh, my God, yes. They're fine. It's no problem. And I do just mean they're doing their own thing, man. It's interesting that they now want to do their own promotion here, which that's what happens. You start floating the idea of NXT Japan, it's like, uh-oh. Because the biggest hiccup that any Vince McMahon endeavor is going to run into in the Far East is intellectual property, because baby, it don't exist there. And so this whole, I need every dime made off of this name forever. You can't use your real name. I own Rhodes, so you're not Cody Rhodes anymore. You got to change your name, and I own it, and I own your image and licensing and T-shirts, and I want all the nickels, and I want everything. I want all the money, all the time, all forever.
Yeah.
That is not going to fly there.
Yeah.
And see, they don't care. So they come to your backyard where they now get all those protections and therefore get all this money they hadn't been getting before. Not good. No good, man.
That was one of the telltale stories I heard from whichever company it was that WWE went to buy over there, and and they didn't just like immediately just say like, hell no, get out of here. They basically said, well, what's your plans for us? And they didn't have an answer. Well, New Japan did, so it was like, that's just kind of telling of like, maybe they had a plan and just didn't want to tell them. Or they probably legitimately didn't have an idea, and they were like, well, we're not just going to sell just to sell. We want to know what you're going to do. And they were like, I don't know.
I don't know about that, brother.
I don't know about that, dude.
Plans? Huh?
Have y'all ever heard of Hogan? We're going to paint up a guy that's called an Ultimate Warrior and send him over here.
You're going to love it. It's going to be great. But yeah, as far as I know, they were in the market for Pro Wrestling Noah, and that fell apart. And New Japan, interestingly enough, was in the market for Shimmer, and that fell apart too. It's not Shimmer, Stardom. Excuse me, Stardom. Yeah. And 11th Hour, man, Stardom was like, no, you know what, we'll do our thing, which is totally good, because I'm tired of people whining about, oh, come New Japan does have a women's division, because women's wrestling in Japan typically is their promotions.
They're already separate.
It's top to bottom, man. It's like, nah, man, when you go to the Joshi show, that's what you are there for. It's the whole show. And they do it here, too, Shimmer. That's why I just mixed it up a minute ago. Shimmer's an all-women's promotion, man. It's like, dude, that's cool. That's cool, man. But anyhow, sorry, we can veer over to the other show now if we have to. But I'm totally with you. NXT was fantastic. I really loved it, and I just Roddy and Dijakovic, and which I still have a hard time saying because I got used to the other one, and Keith Lee, man.
I still want to say Dosovic.
Yeah.
So for some reason that's in my head.
Yeah, man. Dijakovic. I'm bad with that. That's no good, man. But anyway, I shouldn't say it's no good. I'm no good at it. But boy, they were good. That was so impressive. And I'm telling you, there's somebody. The Matt Riddle match. Which we talked about that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize.
That was a pretty funny revelation that came from the Marty and Sarah podcast I listened to this week, where he, from some reason or another, they got on a Rob Van Dam kick this week, and it was watching stuff from freaking 96
barely legal
or whatever it was, and she said they were sitting there watching it together, and she kind of had this realization where she turned to Marty, like, so he was your Matt Riddle, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, back in the day.
I saw somebody make that case on an Instagram post, and it was all like, okay, so, all right, cool, man.
and I hadn't made that connection myself, but then once you hear somebody say it, like, well, yeah, so.
Yeah, it's just, again, man, it's the thing. I get it, and I get the joke, but it's like we say, man, if the promo stuff isn't your stuff, maybe it's not there. But yeah, like the weed dude, bro. Okay, that's cool, man. But I did love the idea because I'm like, man, Matt Riddle versus Rob Van Dam would be awesome because Matt Riddle's style is really just him, and Rob Van Dam's style is really just him. And it's like, man, that's crazy. And people always talked about that with Rob, like he was either easy to work with or impossible to work with because he was so unique. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. That's cool, man.
Yeah, talk about laying it in.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
But then. And AEW was just as good, I thought, this week. So it was a fun show too. It's hard to see.
The tag. I'm really enjoying the tag tournament because I like that. I love tag teams. That's my stuff that I like. I'm digging it. It's cool. I thought that. What did we get? We got. For Pete's sake, man, Lucha Brothers and. God, why can't I remember who the crap they worked? The other guys that won in the freaking tournament.
The Best Friends?
Private Party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's cool. I think that it's just my opinion, and boy, this is going to be, I won't say unpopular. Y'all, I'll tell you, and you can decide for yourselves. I thought that it was a hell of an example of how underrated Matt and Nick Jackson are at getting good matches out of people. Because it's not that it wasn't good. It's just, man, you could tell those guys did not, they have not worked together before. It's good, but just a little sloppy. And it's cruddy to say that because it's live TV and it's guys working together, ain't worked together before. But it was just like, not botches. No one got hurt or anything, but it's just not quite as crispy as you want. And boy, howdy, you can say what you like about Matt and Nick Jackson. Them being unprecise, not an accurate criticism.
Yeah.
So it was cool, but it was like, it's nice to see it. It's all good. And I'm glad the Luchas are in the final. And I really can't decide. I want them. That was my pick from the beginning of the tournament. I want them to win. But now I can't decide. And I'm going to veer off, and sorry to do that. But with the other one was Dark Order, which who gives a crap? I'll answer on behalf of everybody. No one. No one cares. And they're out there with SCU, which is too much fun. But I don't know if this is the plan. I don't know if this is, just something like potential. But with having Ricky and Robert on the show next week to present the titles, I would love to see the Rock and Roll Express against the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah.
But the Rock and Roll Express against SCU, I'm wondering if there's not a way you can do both. I'm wondering, because that would be awesome. And I only say that because Kazarian, Ricky and Robert can still go. Kazarian is just a master orchestrator. So, I mean, if they want Scorpio in there, that's great too, because holy crap, that'd be amazing. But if you're bringing Daniels back or whatever, man, but something about SCU versus the Rock and Roll Express, I'm like, I would love this, but not a title match, because I want the Luchas to win the belts. Yeah. But I'm like, God, that'd be cool, man. So I'm maybe getting ahead of myself there, but and greedy. I'm definitely being greedy, but I'm glad they're going to be there, and that's cool. And I'm glad we're crowning the champs next week, because I was afraid they were going to put that on the pay-per-view, and I'm not into the pay-per-view. I don't need all that mess. It's all good. They'll be back.
I can skip that just fine.
Yeah, there'll be reviews up that night, and they can tell me on Wednesday what happened. It's all good. It's just, I don't mean to be a jerk and say it's too expensive, but it is. Because the thing is,
I've become spoiled with the network.
Well, see, that's my thing. Is I understand that. I do. I give you 35 for it. But 60's a lot. I'm like, man, I can't drop 60 on. I can't do it. That's a lot. That's a lot. So more than 10 doesn't bother me because I understand. You can't do a pay-per-view for $10 freaking dollars. Vince does it because he can. That puts you in a position to do something you can do the other guy can't do, which AEW's in a position to do, but they don't want to. So enjoy being second place forever. That sounds cruddy, but what can I say? I've been consistent about that since day one. If you're not running the John Oliver playbook, enjoy being second place. Because if you're just going to do Vince light, you're always going to pale in comparison to Vince actual. Simple. That one's easy, man. Yeah. Anyhow, hopefully we'll get there. I can't shake with all the, well, Seth Rollins is talking junk about Kenny Omega and JR fires back and Becky Lynch fires back. I've never, ever been more convinced that we're getting that crossover. I think they're all in it together. I think they're all smart enough to know we will get so rich off a crossover, it's worth doing. That's just what I think. But the real thing is not that Seth Rollins replies, or that people reply to Seth Rollins. Forgive me, that's not the problem. Seth can say whatever the hell he wants to. But it's what people say. Because ultimately, well, whenever he gets done down there in the minor leagues, wants to come up and, meet at the granddaddy of them all, this whatever, showcase of the immortals, or whatever the hell he called it. Y'all do realize he just promoted a guy from the minor leagues to the main event of WrestleMania, right? That tells you all you need to know about who Kenny Omega is, what his reputation is. Everybody gets it. And the fact that nobody is pointing that out is like, Seth, are you sure? Means that everyone knew, or not means. It seems to me everybody's in on it. And everybody's playing their part and saying the right stuff. Primarily, like I told Jared earlier, one of the most famous things about Vince McMahon ever through the Monday Night War, Sting, Lottie Die, AJ Styles and TNA and all that stuff, man. Well, if you didn't do it here, it didn't happen. So why all of a sudden now is everybody acknowledging this new company? They didn't do this with WCW. They've never done this with anybody. So if you're not looking to lay the foundation to make some money off of it, why are you promoting it? And I think the answer is they are looking to make some money off of it. So I just can't shake it. And God knows I hate agreeing with Vince Russo on anything. However, jerk that I am, I will point it out once and for all and forever. I got there first, Vince. It's like I've been saying this junk forever. Anyhow, but that's the AEW show. It was the tag team stuff I enjoyed. The Britt Baker, I'm telling you, man, it's not that I don't like Britt. It's just that we were talking about Brian Last made the point. He did a great job pointing out. I mean, she's only been doing this 2 years, right? And I'm like, okay. And it's okay. You can learn and you can be good. I wish they would book her with people that actually have experience. That would make a huge difference. But yeah, it's like I don't expect her to be burning down the house now that I know she's barely been in the business. That's not fair and it's ridiculous. And the women's division in AEW, that's a strange thing. Is how many, again, Brian Last is all like, I'm just so much more into the NXT women's division. That shocked me that it surprised him. I'm like, man, are you kidding? I thought everybody knew the NXT women's division is
slamming.
It's where it's at. It's especially in comparison of the two.
And as much as they routinely get it, they keep on pumping out good stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, man, like the academy or whatever you want to call it, man, the training that the performers go through when they get there, man, it works. It works. And let's see. The singles divisions, I would definitely give NXT the nod in the singles divisions, but that's because I'm so rarely really fired up by singles performers. And that includes, even for NXT, that includes Gargano, who is excellent, but okay. Ciampa, who, Tommaso's just not my guy. I think he's very good, but I'm just sick of Steve Austin clones everywhere I look. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. You've got Tommaso Ciampa, that's Stone Cold Tommaso Ciampa. Becky Lynch, that's Stone Cold Becky Lynch. For God's sake, Moxley's the exact same thing. They're all the same thing. So singles wrestling does not routinely do it for me. Except Adam Cole, who is absolutely out of this world extraordinary. So I love that guy. Adam Cole, for me, he's the most exciting singles wrestler for me since AJ Styles, because AJ always did it for me too. It's like that kid right there is extraordinary. Okay. The tag divisions, I think, are both good. I think AEW's is much better. I shouldn't say much. That's really not fair. AEW's is better, but they're both good. They're both really. I'm cool with both of them, man. Mm-hmm. And
it's my favorite thing on their show is their tag division.
Me too. Oh, me too, by a substantial degree. And I love it because it's, again, back to the thing of like just the depth. Because you've got a title match between SCU, who's very, very good, the Lucha Brothers, who are internationally known. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this other match over here that you're going to book, which is LAX, whatever the heck they're called now. I don't know what they're calling them now, but LAX and the Young Bucks. And it's like, so the star power is in the non-title match. Mm-hmm. And the folks that know are, the Luchas are star power, but still, it's like, man, that's a deep division. And that's 4 teams, and we haven't even talked about their in-house creation that everybody loves, which, Godspeed Luchasaurus. I mean, I don't mean to be another voice in the chorus of, boy, I hate Marco Stunt, but god dang it, I hate Marco Stunt. I've hated that guy since the first time I saw him, which was on MLW TV, and I'm like, I don't get this at all.
Yeah, that's one of the rants that, speaking of the Cornette show, he went off on Marco, and it's kind of like, I don't have the venom that he quite has for him, but I definitely understand that it's like, just from the sheer fact that they physically look too much alike, is don't have him anywhere near that team. As he looks too much like Jungle Boy Jack or whatever you want to call him. To me, I thought that was a bad decision from the get-go.
Completely agree. And that's actually, anyway, it's mean, but mentioning MLW is my dig at Corny. Because it's all like he freaks out and loses his mind or how much he hates Marco Stunt. I'm like, yeah, well, that company that used to sign your paycheck is the reason anyone knows who he is. So you don't own MLW, but maybe you don't get to divorce yourself completely from it. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, I hated that. I hate that Luchasaurus got hurt just because Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy is an awesome team. That's cool and it's neat, and I hate that happened because, to be fair, I thought they were completely right that when you have to change that match, you got to go kill them. Mm-hmm. You got to go kill them. Now, you would have had 2 tag team squashes. I think this was last week. You would have had 2 because I thought they booked the LAX match perfectly where they come out and just kill everybody. And they were huffing about, well, they're not doing any heel stuff. I'm like, they're supposed to squash the guys. You ain't got to do no heel stuff, man. It's just ridiculous. But I think LAX is cool. I like how deep the tag division is. I'm good with all this. Mm-hmm. The Inner Circle stuff, I hate all of that. I hate all of it. I really like LAX, and it's cool you need a tag team in your faction, and I get it. Sammy Guevara, same problem I've always had with him. It's very, very difficult to call somebody an entitled little millennial bitch when you've got this 9-year-old boy with his tongue stuck out next to you. Like, that doesn't really work.
Have you looked to the left?
It's like, oh my, that's no good. Mm-hmm. But it's just, and it's, man, I hate to be such a jerk because I've loved Chris Jericho for many, 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 many years. But I just think that, I think him being the champion is absolutely the right call because he's the biggest name you got. And that's cool. But geez, man, this midlife crisis, Axl Rose reunion tour look is just, it just doesn't work for me, man. It's not working. And it ain't his fault. I mean, the idea of changing up your style, I get it. But I just think that doing more mat-based stuff. Don't worry about the lion salt anymore. You can change your move setup. All that stuff is fine. Oh, that's the other thing. Oh, by the way, since we're on the subject of mentioning Cornette, Corny loves Chris Jericho. He won't diss him because he birthed him at Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Just ask him, he'll tell you. Mm-hmm. But he complains all the time about, well, you got Private Party with that crazy gin and juice move that's the best move in the world, and they've never beat anybody with it. And no one will see you beat anybody because they keep hitting on the wrong guy. I'm like, they're not booked to go over. They are damn sure hitting it on the right guy because when you do hit the legal man, you're going to get the 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. They weren't booked to go over. You can't hit the legal man because that sucks if you do.
Yep.
But why is everything in AEW, and no, it's not indie flippy stuff, and there's a lot of that, but how come everybody kicks out of everything in AEW? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because there's one move that nobody kicks out of. So literally, in an effort to put over Jericho's ridiculous little back elbow, everyone kicks out of everything. Mm-hmm. Or you hit it on the wrong guy or the non-legal guy. And that's great because that's protecting that move because that is the coolest tag team move probably in all of wrestling right now. On the subject, the Young Bucks match this week. It was them and Best Friends, losers bracket, basically, from the tag tournament. Yep. They won that match with more bang for your buck, which I love because I've always loved that finish, and they've got like 1,000. But it's cool to bust out the classics. I liked it. I thought, yeah, it was cool. It was a good match too because I'm with you. I like all four of those guys. Chucky is definitely my least favorite. But man, you get Beretta and Nick Jackson, you can pretty much tag them up with anybody, and I'm going to be entertained and excited. And it was cool. I enjoyed that match. It was cool. But the inner circle stuff I hate. Jericho just does not do it for me these days. It's not his fault. It's just, I honestly think it's just singles. Singles wrestling's not my thing. But your top two single stars as far as push are Chris Jericho, who I'm just kind of tired of right now, and John Moxley, who I've never been a Dean Ambrose guy. He's not my guy, especially now that it's just Stone Cold John Moxley. Literally, like, everything he does is all like, hey, man, come on, double birds, and I'm too tough to be hurt. And it's like, this sucks. You're not Goldberg. Goldberg sucks as Goldberg. You damn sure suck as him. But anyhow, I'm hoping that eventually, I'm really hoping that we do get to the Omega phase because I love Kenny. I think Kenny's great, and I really think that's the ultimate idea of where they're going. Is Moxley eventually will wind up with that belt and he'll tote it for a little while, and then all of a sudden you're going to get that promo of like, y'all know what that E stands for, right? Okay, well, here's the deal. This company exists because of me. You can talk about Jericho, and you got to thank Jericho, and you can talk about Moxley because he used to get a paycheck in Connecticut. The alternative wrestling on this planet starts, ends, and belongs to Kenny Omega. And it begins today. And he wins the title, and he goes on a huge run, and he just does that thing. And that would be awesome. And you can bring in Randy Orton wrestling. Which, again, I think that was just Randy having a good time. But ultimately, I thought, like we talked about, I thought this was all resolved. They've already done the Randy Orton contract storyline, but apparently people were lying about it. So, well, his contract's up next summer, so he could make the jump. That's exactly what we talked about back when I thought the story first broke. Randy Orton using competition to run up his price is exactly what Randy Orton or anybody else in that position should do. That's what that's exactly what he should do, man. So if he's just using it to get more money out of Vince, great. Good for him. That's exactly what he should do. But let's pretend, hypothetically, that it's real. Because that was Chick Foley on Instagram. Good account. That's a good one to follow. And she's like, what do y'all think? What are your opinions on Randy Orton joining All Elite? And I'm like, whenever they want to punch their dance card to officially be WCW,
sign him up.
By all means. Absolutely, man. So it's like, this is stupid, y'all. But anyhow.
If his contract is up this summer and he signs with them, he'll work there a month and he's due for an injury about that time.
Due for an injury?
So that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, man.
If it doesn't happen before. And then they tack, or we gotta tack some time on that contract. Come on, man.
Yeah, hey, man.
Be a player.
We gotta take care of Road. You gotta take care of Randy.
He's due. He's due for a shoulder injury or God knows what.
He's been due for months off, man. Going back to, like we said, man, the original Bray Wyatt storyline. We give him 6 months at home with his kid, and then he can come home and win his little title again. So I'm not taking the title reign away from Randy. I just wish they'd done it differently.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's the last time we ruined Bray Wyatt. Now we're currently in the next time we ruin Bray Wyatt. It's fascinating that we can constantly book this monster to lose over and over and over again and then be like, oh, how come he's not over? How come it's not working?
I don't get it.
Yeah, he's done the same thing 940 times.
Yeah.
10,000 freaking times.
I can't do our work.
We can't do our work.
Man, that's what's up.
I think that's it, man. Appreciate it, y'all.
I'll see y'all. Can't wait for Crown Jewel.
Yeah,
oh, Jesus Christ.